Hey everybody, welcome in. Kyle Olson here with the Fantasy Football Teachers. We educate and you dominate. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy Football Teachers YouTube channel. Make sure you click that notification bell so you can be notified anytime we release new content. Guys, big NFL news today. Carson Wentz is on the move. He has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 draft picks. This has been kind of seen coming for a little bit. This is not a total surprise, obviously, but he has officially been traded. So the Carson Wentz Indianapolis Colts era has begun, and I'm coming on today just to talk a little bit about the Indianapolis Colts side of the fantasy football impact for this, because everybody's thinking, okay, Wentz going to Indy, what does this do for the players in Indianapolis? What does this do for Carson Wentz, right? So, guys, no secret, Carson Wentz in 2020, he was not good, right? He was horrible. The Eagles were not a good team, and he was not a good quarterback. And when obviously he got benched and Hurts came in and Hurts played well, that was the end of the line for Carson Wentz with the Philadelphia Eagles. So going to Indy, getting a fresh start, one of the really big upsides and positive things for this, guys, he's reuniting with Frank Reich, his former offensive coordinator. So he's going to the right place. If he's going to go somewhere where he could get this thing figured out, get his mind right, and get back on track and start putting up those good numbers again that he did in 2017, his 2019 was pretty good. He's going to be able to, if he's going to do it somewhere, it's going to be in Indianapolis. If he goes there and can't do it, then that's probably going to be tough for him to really catch on anywhere else, because he's got to be able to do it in that situation. So there were some factors that were beyond Carson Wentz's control that also went against him in 2020. He was playing behind the offensive line that gave up the most sacks in the NFL. He was sacked 50 times, and that was only in the 12 games that he played. Phillip Rivers, on the other hand, quarterback with the Colts last year, who was not very mobile compared to Wentz, he was only sacked 19 times. The Colts have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Wentz is coming from one of the worst offensive lines in the league. So that's going to improve things right there. He's going to be under less pressure. He's going to be sacked less. And he was not good when under pressure. He turned the ball over. He threw 15 picks. He lost 6 fumbles. Now, as my co-host Ben Fisher likes to say, a lot of times those turnovers, unless you're in a league that has huge negative points, they actually can help you because they put you behind in the score and then you're throwing the ball a lot, right? In Indianapolis, that might not be the case as much because he's going to a run-heavy offense anyway. I think that the downside, downturn in turnovers should definitely be helpful for him. And he should be able to put up better numbers, not being rushed all the time and not being hurried all the time and under that constant pressure. So Carson Wentz-wise, I think he definitely improves. I mean, he can't get any worse, really, right? So I think he improves under Reich. He's not going to have any trouble learning the offense. He's going to be able to, he makes those short passes. He likes to use his tight end. And he's going to have the support of a really strong running game. He's got Jonathan Taylor behind him, who is shown that he can be a stud running back. He's going to be in a run-heavy offense. He's going to be able to manage the game a little bit, but still take some of those shots downfield that the Colts want to be able to do here and there, that Phillip Rivers really couldn't do as well last year, being 39 years old and about to retire, right? So Wentz-wise, I think potential-wise, he could get into the bottom end of that QB1 range if things go right for him. Realistically, maybe he's more in that 13 to 15 range, that kind of top-end QB2. But if you're a guy that drafts 2 quarterbacks later in drafts and you like to kind of stream those options, or the quarterback that you take early on next year doesn't pan out as well, Wentz is a guy that maybe can plug in for you and put up decent numbers. Or he becomes a guy that you can trade if you need somebody to trade, because if he's putting up good numbers, then you might be able to find a team that needs a quarterback. So I like the options with Wentz. I have him in a couple dynasty leagues. Obviously, I'm a lot more excited now about him than when he was benched in Philly, so that's better, right? And so some of you guys that have him in a dynasty league or something, you're feeling a little bit better about it. You at least have some excitement and some enthusiasm going forward to kind of see what he can do with Frank Reich. All right, so looking at their positions, kind of already mentioned Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, this doesn't change much for him. He proved that he can be a stud running back. He's going to be going the number 4 or 5 running back off the board right there in that range. This doesn't change much for him. Run-heavy offense. He's not too involved in the passing game anyway. He can be, but he's going to rely on the upside is his volume, his number of carries, his rushing game, his touchdowns there. That's going to be his biggest upside. Nyheim Hines probably takes a little bit of a hit because Carson Wentz is not quite as accurate to his running backs as Phillip Rivers was. And so that probably puts a little bit of a hit to Hines, who relies on the passing game. But he's the guy you're taking later in drafts anyway. He's the guy you're just kind of filling in when you can. Even last year with Rivers, he had a couple big games, but then he was one of those guys that you put in your lineup after a really good game and he didn't do anything. So I don't think it's too much of a hit for Hines, even though it does affect the passing game a little bit. Going over to tight end, Wentz loves to throw the ball to the tight end. The issue is right now the Colts have Ali Cox, they have Trey Burton, and they have Jack Doyle. However, Ali Cox and Burton are free agents. So who knows, is one of those guys going to resign? Are they both going to resign? Are they bringing somebody else in? Jack Doyle's been around for a while, hasn't been producing as much lately. If they have a massive amount of tight ends and they're going to be spreading it and none of them can really stand out, then this doesn't really help them very much because they're not going to be getting enough targets to be a viable fantasy option for you. But tight end, a position we always talk about here on Fantasy Football Teachers being very weak position, very top-heavy position. After you get past those first few guys, it really drops off. So maybe next year, maybe they only have one main guy, or if it's one or two guys. So you want to just watch that tight end situation. You want to see who's there in Indy, because maybe it is a situation where there is going to be a guy who's getting the majority of the tight end targets, and now you've got Carson Wentz coming in who throws the ball to the tight end a lot, and that could be definitely a big upside for the tight end there. So potential-wise, it's there. Right now, I'm just not too excited about the tight end position, even with Wentz throwing more to that position. Wide receiver-wise, guys, I love, and I know Ben Fisher, and I know Trevor Lane too, we all like Michael Pittman. We all like the upside. He's a big receiver, big physical receiver. He's got talent. Didn't have a great rookie year, but he showed some flashes. His wild card game, he was a beast. So he showed that he can be that really strong receiver. I think he's going to be a guy that you can get. He's going to slide a little bit in drafts next year because a lot of people are going to look at his overall numbers this year as a rookie and see that it really wasn't that great. But he's the guy that could take a huge leap in his second year. So I think Michael Pittman's the guy you want to target in your draft. I think Michael Pittman could have a big second year. Paris Campbell, the issue with him is he can't stay healthy. If Paris Campbell can stay healthy, he's a speed demon. He could be that deep option for Wentz. He has shown in the past that he has the talent level. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field. So Paris Campbell's a guy, again, you can get him late in your draft just because he's not going to be targeted very high. He hasn't had the game volume to really move up people's draft boards and produce the numbers that he has the potential to. So I would take a chance on Paris Campbell late in the draft. Zach Pascal maybe too, just because if there's an injury, things like that. But as far as the receivers go, Wentz is going to be able to push the ball down the field a little bit more than Rivers did last year, just because he's got, Rivers was getting older, his arm was not as strong. So I think none of these receivers are really guys I'm going to take too high. I think you're looking at these guys at, best case a wide receiver 3. Could Pittman blow up and be a wide receiver 2? It could happen, but I'm looking at him more as like a wide receiver 3. T.Y. Hilton's probably gone. If T.Y. Hilton comes back, this could be a good move for him. Just getting a little more action for him. But I don't expect to see T.Y. Hilton back in Indianapolis next year. But that's kind of my take on it right there, guys. Definitely exciting to kind of see what could happen. Keep an eye on that tight end situation, like I said. But just, be ready for Carson Wentz to have definitely a better year next year. He's going to be the guy there. He's going to have the chance to do it. And again, if there's anywhere he's going to do it and anybody he's going to do it with, it's going to be with Frank Reich and behind that really strong offensive line. So really good things, guys. Again, make sure you subscribe to our Fantasy Football Teachers YouTube channel. Look for us to put out another video soon about the Eagles side of this trade, so that should be exciting. And make sure you guys keep enjoying the offseason. Have a good night.